Hi, I'm Lauren Cowling, COP26 Engagement Officer, and I'm here today with Catherine Dalgleish from the campaigns team and Scott Baldridge from the Public Affairs team. And they're here to talk to us about the Voices for a Green Future competition and what National Grid are doing around education and skills. So, starting with Catherine, let's talk to you about the competition. What was kind of the thoughts of the competition and why did National Grid decide to launch it?
So we felt it was really important to give young people a platform, particularly in the run-up to COP26, where they could share their views on climate change. I mean, we say this all the time, that every voice matters in the fight against climate change, but it's young people who are really going to be impacted by the decisions and actions that we take today. We also carried out some research earlier in the year, which showed that 83% of the children that we surveyed, aged 7 to 16, basically felt that adults should be doing more to fight climate change. And a third of those children also felt that they had ideas about how climate change could be tackled that adults weren't actually implementing. So we thought, let's give young people a platform, let's launch this competition and basically ask them to share their visions for a green future by answering the question, if you were in charge of the country, how would you tackle climate change and help protect the planet? And we asked them to do it in 200 words or less, so they would really have to think about every word and how they would put that together.
Great, sounds great. And how did you encourage the children to get involved in the competition?
So we promoted it actually through a wide variety of ways, through the media and specialist children's magazines. We also partnered with Helen Skelton, TV presenter. She's been a great ambassador for this competition. We also, through our National Grid colleagues, provided them with materials so that they could contact the schools, their children, and promote the competition. And some of them even went in and actually gave talks to the pupils, which has been really good. And then also we actually engaged with MPs across the UK as well, basically asking them to spread the word in their communities and to schools in their constituencies.
Great. How did it do in terms of entries?
Oh, it's fantastic. We had hundreds of entries from children across the UK, representing about 300 different schools. So we're really pleased with that. And the calibre of the entries as well has been fantastic. So by all accounts, it was really quite a difficult job to actually whittle those down to the final 10 that we then put in front of our judging panel. So the judging panel was our Group Chief Engineer, David Wright, TV presenter Helen Skelton, and MPs Philip Dunn and Ruth Jones. And they had the very difficult task of judging those 10 finalists, selecting the 4 winners. But I believe that they all really enjoyed the process because the kids are just so inspiring and passionate with their ideas.
And then those 4 winners then, what did they then have to do next?
So basically the 4 winners, who are very deserving I think, then had to turn their 200-word entry into a speech. So we said between 2 to 5 minutes to basically allow for different ages. And we then videoed those speeches and we've turned them into the film that we're premiering at COP26. And I mean, the quality of what they've done, they need to be commended on that because it's been fantastic.
So for those winners then, there was a range of prizes that they got given. Can you tell me a bit more about those?
Yeah, so as well as having their speeches premiered at COP, we focused on educational prizes. So the 6 runners-up each got a £50 book token. Our 4 winners got £150 worth of either book tokens or toys, science toys, so STEM related, STEM being science, technology, engineering and maths. We also we set up interviews with the media, so they got some coaching around how to do that kind of thing. We coached them when they were preparing their videos, for their VIP experience, which I believe they all enjoyed. So they had child-friendly tips on how to prepare and write their speech and deliver their speech. And we also worked with Maddie Moat, who's a TV presenter, and she prepared a really fantastic video for the kids, so telling them how to prepare and also present. So that's something that I think will stand in good stead in the future. And then last but not least, each of the schools of the 4 winners will receive a £5,000 grant which they can spend on climate change or STEM related educational experiences, resources or experiences for their pupils.
That's great. That's really good that they got a whole range of different things, not just the winners as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So what have your highlights been for the whole competition?
So I have to say personally, I've absolutely loved working on this, particularly in the final stages where we've been working with the finalists and the winners. To see how delighted they've been, basically with their progress, like how proud their parents have been, the schools and the teachers as well, and then of course hearing about how the schools are planning to spend their £5,000 grants, to benefit the students. And I think ultimately that's what it's all about, really. Inspiring the next generation.
Oh, that sounds really amazing. It's a great competition and great for National Grid to be able to do. So I think we're going to take the topic into a more broader discussion. So I'm going to bring in Scott just to talk a bit more about kind of what National Grid's doing about green jobs and educational skills in general. So Scott, why don't you set the scene for us a bit? What is the scale of the opportunity in green jobs?
I think it's a really massive opportunity here. And sort of the competition that Catherine's been working on is a really small part of some of the work that we as National Grid are doing about trying to engage that next generation of talent, actually, to make sure that they're interested in the net zero energy workforce. The scale of the opportunity is genuinely huge, so our research says there's about 400,000 roles needed within the energy sector by 2050 for us to get to net zero. 120,000 of those will be needed between now and 2030. And really importantly as well, they're going to be spread across every nation and region of the UK. So just to put some numbers sort of behind that, we're talking about around 60,000 jobs in the northwest of England, around 40,000 in the northeast of England, and around 50,000 where we are today in Scotland, of course, as well. They'll be linked to some of the crucial net zero technologies that we need to get deployed in the energy sector, so things like large-scale offshore wind, but also exciting new technologies like carbon capture, utilisation and storage as well.
Wow, there's a lot to do.
Indeed, yeah.
Yeah. So what are the biggest challenges around that then?
I think there's a number of challenges. When you've got an opportunity of that size, it obviously brings a significant challenge with it as well. One of the big ones for us in energy actually is diversity. It's given the sheer number of jobs that we've got coming down the line. It's really important that we as a sector are able to recruit talent from all walks of life, particularly those groups that are currently underrepresented in the sector.
And so how do you think responsible business can tackle this, and what is the role that business can play in green jobs?
I think there's a really important role that responsible businesses can play in this space, and it's something that we as National Grid have been doing a lot of thinking about, and it's something we've made some commitments on as well. So last year we published something called our Responsible Business Charter, which touched on a number of areas that the business is involved with. One of those was particularly on people, on skills provision as well. So within that charter we made a commitment that by 2030 we were going to support 45,000 people with skills and development training. There's a number of ways that we're looking to do that, but sort of our flagship program in this space, as it were, is something called Grid for Good. So Grid for Good's all about trying to get into those communities where there are young people who are currently underrepresented in our sector and providing them with the various different sort of skills, development and opportunities so that if they want a job in the energy sector and in the net zero energy sector, then actually they've got the right sort of frameworks in place for them to be able to go and pursue that. So with Grid for Good, we're looking at things like providing work experience for people, development, mentoring, skills provision, networking, industry taster sessions, you name it. There's a really, really sort of broad suite available, a broad suite of options available to people through that. We set up the program last year, and we've already had 2,750 young people go through it, so it's a pretty significant program across both the UK and the US. I think it's a really exciting example of how business actually can do some quite good proactive work on this.
Great, that all sounds amazing. National Grid getting involved in everything and helping with green jobs. So I'd say a massive thank you to Catherine and Scott for coming to the Green Zone today to talk about Voices for a Green Future and green jobs in general. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.